pretty awkward one today. This was, 2 weeks ago, I think? It was my cousin's birthday, so we were all sort of, that entire side of the family was all cramped into this tiny house. Yeah, I mean, it's a normal sized house, but it's just, it feels really tight and claustrophobic. I don't, was it my cousin's birthday or my auntie's birthday? Either way, it's, once you get past a certain age, it's not really about whose birthday it is. It's more about an excuse to get the whole family together, which I'm sure is great if you are really social and love getting together with your family. But if you're like me, then that's not the case, then it's kind of like these events are hell, literal hell on earth. Camoed up old guy wearing a matching camo hat and hoodie just walked by. I'm in line for the car wash right now. So we're at my auntie and uncle's house. I think it's my cousin's birthday, maybe it's my auntie's birthday. We're all there, we're all sitting around, and we're talking about, all these stupid things. What's your career? What are you doing these days? Oh, you're still at that job. Oh, okay. What are you doing? Oh, I'm retired now. You see, oh, you want a different job? Why don't you just go into the job, the place that you want a job at, and give that person a good handshake? Give that person a handshake and give them your resume, and they'll hire you. It's like the people who don't really, they judge you for where you're at in life, but they don't have any perception of what it's like to be a young person in the modern day kind of thing. Lots of weird judgmental stuff about career, but then the topic changes to TV shows, and this is a little more up my alley, a conversation I'm a little more capable of, I guess, is the right way to put that. We're all talking about favorite TV shows. I think it was my auntie. It was like, the TV show I've been watching is Georgie and Mandy's marriage. Georgie and Mandy's first marriage. Which, I probably got the title wrong. It's this spin-off of Young Sheldon, which Young Sheldon is just a spin-off of The Big Bang Theory. So it's a spin-off of a spin-off. It's really like the bottom of the barrel kind of show. It's not. I haven't seen, to be fair, I haven't seen a full episode, but I don't know that I really care to. I think someone said The Last of Us. Someone said, I said Nirvana the band, the show, which none of them knew what it was, and whatever, I don't care. I tried to explain it, that just went over their heads completely. And then my cousin, she said Heated Rivalry, and why on earth she thought it was a good idea to bring up heated rivalry with the family, especially a hockey family, right? Because I don't care about hockey whatsoever. I never have. I feel like I've always been sort of the black sheep of the family, almost considered a disappointment as a result of that. But, oh, Grandpa's on his way back with the hoodie. God, he is so scary. No, he isn't. What am I talking about? Anyways, we're all talking about what's our favorite show, or not favorite show, but what shows have we been watching. My cousin brings up Heated Rivalry, and she's like, it's a hockey show. It's a hockey romance show. Romance gets tuned out entirely. Everyone's ears perk up when they hear hockey. All these, the older generation that don't really understand, that haven't heard of Heated Rivalry, right? And for those who don't know, it's this Canadian gay hockey show, which is very sex scene heavy, to put it lightly. I have, well, I've seen the first episode, and I'll get into that. But I hadn't seen it. I just had kind of heard of it from social media, and I was like, okay, why are you bringing this up? But whatever, she brings it up. Thought it was a good idea, I guess. And so my uncle is sort of in and out of this conversation because he's helping my other auntie, who wasn't in this conversation, helping her cook supper. But I think he heard maybe the start of it, didn't hear the end of it. And then we had supper. Topic of conversation kind of changed, and we ate. And then afterwards, my uncle comes up to me, and he says, "Are you gay, or are you I can't remember if he said, are you gay or are you LGBTQ?" And I'm thinking, like, I'm like kind of a little bit on edge when he asks this, because I don't know. I mean, I live in rural conservative Alberta, and so someone asking that isn't necessarily. There's lots of questions that come along with that, of like, why am I being asked this? What is their intention here? Where is this heading? Kind of thing. And I'm like, well, I mean, like, sort of, what do you mean? Like, what are you asking me here? Kind of thing. And he's like, well, you gotta let me know about what this hockey show, this Heated Rivalry hockey show is like, that I'm hearing about, because, have you seen it? I'm like, no, I haven't seen it. He's like, oh, wow, okay. I'm surprised by that. And it's like, okay. I just watch other shows. I've just been catching up on other shows. It's sort of like I maybe want to get to it. I don't really watch shows that much. I'm more of a movie person, Movies are a little less effort to get into, I suppose, just because it's sort of... people kind of roll their eyes about movies because it seems like more time, but ultimately it's less time, right? The duration you have to sit down and watch is longer in theory, but the total amount of time is way shorter than a full-on show. Okay. Entered my car wash code. But he's asking me all this stuff of like, okay, well, it's a hockey show, and it's a gay show, and I like hockey, and you like gay stuff. Like, okay. He's like, well, we were watching ridiculousness in the basement. Want to go watch some Heated Rivalry? And I'm like, what the hell are you talking about, dude? No, I was like kind of confused. I'm like, well, who's all... I'm thinking like it's him and probably some other... Probably like some of my other cousins and some other group of people. I'm also thinking like, where are my cousins' kids? They have some little kids running around. And typically they like to play in the basement. Like at Christmas Eve, they'll play down there, and some people will watch Elf or Home Alone, and they'll watch intermediately when they're not distracted with their toys, kind of thing. But I'm like, okay, well, I don't know where they are, but I'm like, well, I'll go down there and maybe I'll watch part of bits and pieces, whatever. It's like, oh, awesome, I'll head down there. And the whole time I'm like, am I being weird? Like, am I being, like, it's a sex scene heavy show, but like, prior to the supper, I had gone for a walk with my cousins, a walk. So I wasn't sure if I was getting in my own head and being paranoid, or like acting strange, or if there was something weird about this situation. So I just kind of played along with it. And I go downstairs and I'm like, he's setting it up. He's having trouble logging into Crave, which is like the Canadian HBO Max equivalent of a streaming service for those who aren't Canadian. And he is struggling because he set some 4-digit PIN that he has to type in before. It's like he's logged in fully, but there's a 4-digit PIN he has to enter before he can actually view the different shows and movies on Crave. And he doesn't know what it is, and my auntie doesn't know what it is, and the cousins don't know what it is, and they can't find the password book, and it's this whole ordeal. And he is looking through the drawers trying to find the password book. And as he's doing this, I'm kind of talking to him. I'm like, we can watch something else, Like I heard it's a pretty sex scene heavy show, so I don't know if it's really the best family sort of show, anyways. And then he goes on this thing of like, oh, you Gen Zers, you're so sensitive to sex scenes and this and that, and I don't even disagree with that, honestly. Like, he's completely correct. Like, lots of the Gen Zers, people in my generation, are way too Puritan about these things. In general, like, sex scenes can be good, but like, I don't know if my uncle's the audience member I want there with me for it. It's just a little odd. And so I'm kind of waiting, and then we get to the point. He finally logs in and he starts the show, and I'm like, okay, this is awkward, this is strange, but whatever, it's not a huge deal. And we start watching it, and then it starts like, it takes a bit to get to like the more intense stuff. And I'm like, this guy is sort of very conservative coded, so I made it clear. I'm like, this is there's gay sex in this show. He's like, yeah, I don't care. I'm a grown up. I've seen worse. I'm like, you've seen worse? I don't even want to know. You've seen worse. I'm not saying it's bad, but just those are his words, not mine. He's seen worse. So I'm like, okay, like, that's whatever, just as long as you're aware of what you're watching. And so he puts on the show, and it's immediately like, it's me, him, and my cousin down there. But then my cousin, she got a call from her boss, and she had to leave, and then it was just me and him in there on the couch watching this show. And it was just really, it wasn't like, there's lots of sort of stereotypes about uncles that they're like, oh, they're weird sexually, and they want to do weird things I don't know what I'm allowed and not allowed to say on YouTube, but he's not like a creep, I guess, is what I'm getting at. He's like a normal dude, but it's just weird. It sounds way worse than it is, but it's just super awkward. We're sitting there, and I think at first it was okay, like the first episode, and I'm like, I feel like I wasn't fully able to really understand or appreciate what was happening in the show, because I was so distracted by the fact that my uncle was there watching it with me, because I kept thinking of like, oh God, what? And at anytime something like a little bit graphic or sexual came on, I'm like, when is this part gonna be over? When is this part gonna be over? You know, I couldn't enjoy it even from, like, I couldn't enjoy it from like a sexual perspective. But I couldn't even like enjoy it from like a cinematic perspective because I was so distracted the whole time. And I don't think it's quite what he was expecting. I thought he was expecting more hockey. But we get to the end, or we get to like, I guess, the really intense sort of sexy sexual stuff. And immediately it just becomes apparent that he's sort of, he's got more than he bargained for. It's not, he's not into it, but he's like still sort of, he's worried that if he like says anything, he's gonna come off as homophobic or queerphobic, and that's not the case. Like, just because you don't want to watch, a sex scene heavy television show with your relatives, that doesn't mean you're against queer people. That just means you, I guess, aren't into incest. Not that that's what that means. You don't have to be into incest to be comfortable watching that with your family, but lots of people aren't that comfortable with their family. I'm so underexposed. So we kind of sit around, and it's like we're trying not to be awkward, because he doesn't want to make it awkward because he's worried about how he might come across, and I don't want to make it awkward because I'm worried about how I might come across. And we're both sitting there watching this show as the two characters that are there, they're going at it, and it's really quite intense, like, especially like, it's not like, I imagine it probably gets worse, or not worse, but more intense later on. Worse in terms of if you're watching it with your uncle. But I'm queer, okay? I'm queer. I don't need to keep defending myself and going on of, oh, I don't mean worse as in I'm not when I say worse, I mean worse as in worse to watch with your uncle because it's uncomfortable, because it's graphic and detailed. It's not worse as in it's, oh, this is bad, this is not good. It's worse as in it's worse to watch with your uncle, is what I mean when I use the word worse. Not anything else, not anything good, bad, but just like that specifically is what I'm referring to. And so we sit there, and we're sitting there until the end of the episode. And then he's like, you can tell he's a little shy, and he's a little like uncertain of what to say. We both sat there for the whole episode, and it was like the whole time it was like he didn't want to be awkward and I didn't want to be awkward. And anyway, finally the credits roll, episode ends, and you can tell he's like nervous of what to say. He's worried that if he says anything about how it was awkward to watch that he'll come across as queerphobic or like against LGBTQ stuff, which is not the case. Just because you don't want to watch sex scenes with your family doesn't mean you're against, queer people or gay people or trans people. I mean, trans people aren't trans people are not the crux of the show. I've not done a full deep dive into the show, but from my memory, there wasn't any in the first episode. But he just knows that, like, if he comes across as queerphobic, then I might judge him, he knows that it's uncomfortable, and where we're located is there's some negative attitudes, and the political situation of the world for queer people is kind of intense, and he doesn't want to contribute to that. He's a good guy overall, but he's scared of how it might come across. And so I basically just said, like, well, I break the ice, right? And I'm like, well, that was intense, that was a little bit much to watch with your, like, family. And then all of a sudden, like, he's like, well, I don't know, it was good. I'm like, what? He was like, yeah, it was good. Turns out I completely misread his emotions. He's like, yeah, it was good. I was like, that was pretty good, actually. It really reminded me of me and my friend back in the day. I'm like, you and your friend from back in the day? He's like, yeah, my friend from back in the day. His name was Joel. We played against each other on hockey, and we had such a good time in the locker rooms. And, we had such a and he was like, it was like sort of, and this is someone who I used to know back in the day. We haven't talked in years, but it was just such a fun, like, little experience we had, and it was just so good. Fuck. I still have 30 minutes remaining of my drying session, but it says don't back up, so I think I'm done. I'm still soaking wet. It's icy cold out here. Should have stayed in there longer. Anyway, I gotta go pick up pizza, but I should have ordered the pizza while I was waiting in line. Okay. Well, whatever. Anyways, moral of the story is, you never know what kind of tastes someone might have, because I would have never in a million years guessed that my Uncle Lou would have been into Heated Rivalry as a show, right? And it's not because he's queerphobic, but it's because it's sex scene heavy, and I don't think of him in that way because he's my uncle, and I think most people probably don't think of their uncles in that way, or if they do, then I apologize sincerely. That sounds like a really rough thing to go through, and I know it happens for some people, but it's an intense thing. And I don't want to cause any disrespect to anyone who's gone through that. That's not what this video is. This video is just a tale of an awkward story, and sort of a lesson to anyone who thinks, who whether they're queer or straight or whatever, all these arbitrary labels we invent, that really at the end of the day we did make up. Like, yes, they do have some practical application, but also it's like, I'm not saying anyone's identity is fake or invalid or anything, but it is what you make of it, right? Because you can call yourself one thing and be something completely different, right? And some people don't ever like to label themselves, and that's okay. And some people like the labels. They think it makes them more comfortable, and that's also cool. And I hope that the audio in the shower, or in the car shower pretty much is what it is, the car wash, wasn't too terrible. But I gotta go in and order some pizza. Leave a comment below. Was the audio bad in the car wash? And don't repeat the part about Lou and Joel, because he did tell that to me in confidence, and I did just tell it on a YouTube video. I'm sure it's fine.